News Now. Hello, welcome to Nerd News Now. I'm with Kyle and Miss Jen. How are y'all doing?
Oh, give me a second. I just realized I'm not on any Wi-Fi because I turned it off to go to Chili's.
Hey, we're off to a great technical start.
I want my
again,
baby
like
back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back.
Just like last week.
Chili's baby back ribs.
Does Chili's
They
have
still
any
have those?
competitors? Does Chili's have any competitors anymore?
Applebee's.
Does Chili's have any viable competitors anymore?
Applebee's, Outback Steakhouse.
Do you pick Applebee's over Chili's?
I'll be honest, we only have one Chili's and it's a 20-minute drive. I've got
okay.
like 4 Applebee's and one of them is like there.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, sure.
It's like asking me, do I choose Torchy's or Taco Bell? Well, I got to drive 2.5 hours to get to a Torchy's. I guess I choose
Torchy's.
Taco Bell.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Torchy's is worth it.
It is, but I'm not driving 2.5 hours for just slightly better than Taco Bell tacos.
I don't know. Just I get it, but it's not just slightly better.
No.
Okay. Well, how do I put this? This is an Ohio Torchy's. Probably isn't the highest quality Torchy's.
Okay, so maybe.
Yeah. Well, I will say that, I mean, I'm sure there can be some bad Taco Bell, but with Taco Bell, there's that consistency factor, right? Like it's Taco Bell.
The problem with Taco Bell is that they occasionally don't melt the cheese in your quesadillas.
How does that happen?
They've never been able to answer that question.
The thing I always thought was really weird is like Mexi melts were different every single Taco Bell you went to. It's like they lost the formula and they were just like, I don't know, no one ever orders these things. Just throw some stuff in there.
That seems right.
Oh, are Enchiladas back? Or was it like a tease like it was when Mexican pizza where it didn't really come back?
Hey, you can get Mexican pizzas here.
We can now, but at first you couldn't.
Okay.
Do you guys remember the magic when Gorditas was introduced?
Yeah.
We just thought there was something super special about their puffy taco shell over their crunchy taco shell.
Yeah, that's weird.
Oh, and then they did like the double-decker taco was a tortilla over a taco shell, or vice versa, or whatever.
You can still buy, by the way, in the kits in the store.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm having when I get home.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That you could buy. It comes with everything you need to make them at home. And to steal a line from my favorite comedy band, White People Taco Night. You go to the store and you buy a box of stuff, and then you do what it says, and then you eat tacos, basically.
I mean, that's pretty much it, I think.
Right.
Okay, so
that's a Lou Burger song, by the way.
I don't understand why they figured out how to make the Dorito taco shell, and they haven't figured out how to do the flaming hot Cheeto shell. It just seems like a no-brainer to me.
Because Doritos has a flaming hot version.
Mm.
Yeah. They test marketed them here. You want to know the problem with them?
They stain your fingers.
Even that is not the big problem.
Oh no! What is it?
All you could taste was a flaming hot Dorito. Like you couldn't taste the beef, you couldn't taste the cheese, you couldn't like. It was such an overwhelming flavor. They would have had to go completely back to the drawing board on it.
Okay.
That's why Cool Ranch was a success. And
Mild.
Even that was not a big success.
No. What else could they put on the taco shell that you guys would be down for?
I want a dessert taco.
Okay.
So it's a taco shell that's cinnamon sugar, like the cinnamon twists that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And then inside you have like apple bits and frosting, or like every good Mexican restaurant around here has fried ice cream. So like you put ice cream inside. You basically, I want the Choco Taco back. I don't care if I have to go through the drive-through at Taco Bell to get it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. But I mean, that sounds good though.
Yeah. So should we talk about nerd news?
I
Because
mean, if you want.
because I've just been dying to talk to Miss Jen about. So Miss Jen,
Mm-hmm.
how are you feeling now that you've uh gotten to talk to Frank Miller?
You know, okay, so the first round when we were supposed to talk, what was that, 3 weeks ago? I was much more nervous about it. And then I don't know if that just was because I had 3 weeks to think about it and be like, hey, I've talked to lots of people and all of them have been super cool and no one has been a mean troll. And I don't know what I'm worried about. Then I was much more calm about this one, honestly.
Yeah.
I was worried a little bit. I told Dan, I said, man, if I rambled and or was incoherent, it was mostly because there were parts where I was like, man, please, words come out mouth now.
Right. I thought it went really good, and I may or may not be low key in love with Emma Kubert.
She's adorbs, right?
Well, I mean, the amount of talent.
Yes.
Like, I love Inkblot, and I'm very excited for Pandora. Like, it's just it you know. So to see her on, to have her on, and to get that whole thing to finally happen made me incredibly happy.
And it was really heartening to see how much somebody like Frank Miller, who, I mean, he has some real weight right behind him, how much he deferred to her and pushed praise to her was really sweet.
Yeah. I wonder, and maybe you'll have a better understanding of this. Uh this is the first time Frank Miller has had to be Frank Miller, independent creator. Like, in a really, really long time, if not ever, really.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is his company, and it's him and Dan, who Dan DiDio was also part of a giant corporate megastructure.
Oh.
First time ever coming out on their own, and like, okay, well, I don't have a marketing machine behind me. I
Yeah.
don't have, you know, all of these people to do all of this work. So I actually have to go out and do conventions. I actually have to go out and like talk to retailers. I actually have to go out and promote my book. Otherwise, no one will care. It'll be like when Stan Lee had POW Studios or whatever it was. Right? Like, you gotta do that work. And I wonder if for Frank, that's not a little weird. If he's not struggling with it a little bit.
He seemed really natural. Like he seemed like it was like no big. And I didn't get to see him talk at the retailer summit. So I don't know if he was also very natural during that or if it's like he's used to being behind the camera, not in front.
He was very natural at Retailer Summit. I think he's comfortable being Frank Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I think that's the thing, is that he's comfortable being himself in that sense. But I mean, like, I mean, it's some inside baseball, but like the fact that I had to deal with his publicist.
Mm-hmm. That lets you know at what level of creator you're talking to.
Sure. But it's like that, it's one of those things, is like the way the publicist was handling things was like he was trying to protect Frank and make sure Frank understood everything was, because it's not something Frank has had to deal with thus far.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's kind of what I meant by that, you know.
They're doing really correctly is that they really are being what I like in the publishers that are more successful in my space are ones that regularly interact with me as the store owner and or buyer. Call up the store and say, how did our releases do? What can we do to, make sure your fans know all the information they need? Do you need any more, assets? It's like, it doesn't take but a 5-minute call to see, like, because clearly if we're not a store that would ever care or carry an independent, then right away when the phone gets picked up and that person says, quit calling me or whatever.
Right.
It's like not put them on that list. But for all the other people that care, like, which is most of retail out there, it helps a lot to know, because then you can get feedback right away. It's like, okay, well, our feedback was that people want books to come out more regularly, like a quarterly book is a regular book, but they prefer monthlies or whatever.
Right. I just thought, I'm glad it finally came together and we were able to do it. I'm very excited to read Pandora tomorrow.
I think you'll really like it.
We'll see. I can't imagine there's anything about it I won't like. So, Mark, in movie news, because I know that this is more your lane.
Sure.
Batgirl directors are scheduled to talk with James Gunn.
About.
I mean, that can only be good news.
Doing something different.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Right.
Can
It
we
seems
just
like
yeah. Go ahead.
seems like what they're doing is they're going to meet with James Gunn, and they're going to talk about, hey, so Batgirl didn't work, but hey, here's, you guys want to do something else? Speaking of something else.
Oh, it's the Brainy.
What's up?
I just got home and I had messages from Kyle saying, you better jump on. I'm going to come down and kick your ear.
Right. Otherwise, I'm mixing the dance party this week. It's going to be all pop punk covers of Disney songs.
Oh, we should do that. That would be an interesting mix.
Brainy, when are you going to put some gangsta grass in your mix?
I don't know.
Is gangsta grass like the devil's lettuce?
No, it's a gangster with bluegrass. Two things that make the most sense together.
I was more comfortable with it being like the devil's lettuce.
Oh, sorry.
Gangster bluegrass.
Wacky cabbage? No?
Literally called gangsta grass. Like, just look it up. There's a ton of bands.
All right. Did anybody get to see any movies this weekend?
I went and saw Top Gun Maverick again because it's amazing.
I went and saw A Violent Night again.
Oh, like some murdering things, huh?
The first time I got to see it, I was a guest of some people, so I went by myself with these friends that invited me.
Okay.
This time I actually went with my friends. So it was a different group of people. Like the first time it was me and the people I know who work at the movie theater. This time it's me and my actual pals. So it was a good time.
You guys talk through the film, or do you guys like be quiet?
It depends on the crew I'm with. I will say this: when I rented out the theater for The Batman,
Yes.
it was more Mystery Science Theater 3000 than it was watching The Batman. But we also had several people who had written Batman there. So like it turns into a thing.
Yeah, I think that's allowed.
Right. Brainy, how are you feeling?
I don't know. I think I'm like half brain dead.
Well, welcome to my world, bro. Like, but I know you had been under the weather.
Yeah, I mean, I spent the entire freaking Thanksgiving weekend with 5 days, 6 days in bed. But I did catch up. I found Amazon Prime has Punjabi language movies there, and I think I watched more Punjabi language movies during that 5-day period than I have in the last 10, 20 years.
They've noticed that definitely for Cinemark, they've started adding a bunch of showings of a overseas film.
Yeah, as the streaming services are expanding to other nations, they're going to have to do it. They have to add all the other services, and they're actually coming up here now, so I can enjoy more Bollywood and I don't know what the hell Punjabi movies are called, but more Indian films.
Mm-hmm. I love them.
And we know Kyle was watching nonstop of that Emily in Paris trailer that they released. So,
well, I was until you started talking immediately about your movies. But I was gonna say you just spent 5 days in bed watching the Emily in Paris trailer.
oh man, I wish I had. Excuse me.
You know someone's unhealthy when I can make them laugh and makes them cough at the same time. Because normally my sense of humor is not that good.
Oh man, this cough is going to linger for another month or two. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. So also out this week is Emancipation, which is the Will Smith flick. And he made a comment about how he wouldn't be surprised if people don't go see it because of the Chris Rock situation. If you're a studio, what is that phone call to Will Smith like?
Shut your mouth and just stay hidden away. That's not a statement you want to make to your public,
right?
It sounds more of a cop out, like, hey, the movie's going to be really bad, and I don't expect people to watch it. So this is my cop out.
It would have been better for him to come out and say, hey, listen, there were a lot of people that gave their heart and soul to this project that aren't me. Support them.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Well, why even do a press junket for it if you're worried about that coming up?
Right. Yeah, I think he could have handled that a little bit better than he did. But hey,
it's true. Mark, I have a box office statistic for you.
Go for it.
Those are his favorite.
With $17.5 million this past weekend, Wakanda Forever becomes the first film this year to win 4 weeks at the box office. So you remember that night we sat here and talked about how do you tell if a movie's good or not, and how box office numbers really aren't a good gauge, especially opening weekend numbers?
Right.
This is the kind of numbers we were talking about, right? Like, okay, we're a month in and it's still doing $17.5 million a weekend. That's indicative of a good movie, right? It's the hype is worn off. Now you're getting people who have gone back for the second and third viewing.
Well, there also wasn't that much
and fourth and fifth possible.
Right. Right. I mean, there isn't a lot of competition, but like, it's also one of those things. We did a whole show, Mark and I, talking about, and it all started from the 12.5 million people watched the Yellowstone premiere, but no one knows anyone who's watching Yellowstone.
Yeah, I remember that convo.
Mm-hmm. So I will add this: if it wins again, Ryan Coogler joins only 2 other directors who have 2 films with 5-week runs.
Cameron.
Yep.
Wow.
And oh man,
Spielberg.
Would it be Spielberg? Or is that too obvious? No. I mean, is it Cameron and Cameron? I mean, I'm sure he had 2 movies do that. Avatar and Titanic, I believe, both did that.
Oh no,
No?
wait, it's a Big Fat Greek Wedding. No,
Christopher Nolan.
Oh, Batman.
Nolan.
For
Yep.
what though?
The number one will be the first director ever to have 2 films achieve this particular milestone. Who has 2 films with 4 or 5 week runs? Nolan, Cameron, and Coogler. I'm reading a tweet. I don't know. Yeah. It's the 5 week in a row over 10 million is the
Okay.
number.
Oh no, there's got to be more than just those 3.
No, it's that 5th week, that elusive 5th week. Because a lot of movies will do 4 weeks over 10 million.
Yeah,
But it's over 10 million and being number 1.
well, I would say Forrest Gump should hit that because I remember that movie stayed on for number 1 for a long time.
Right, but was it making over 10 million a week?
Well, that's you got to look at it from the inflationary.
No, they're not. They're talking like making 10 million a
Yeah,
week.
that's not.
Right. It was so Christopher Nolan and James Cameron have done it. Nolan, best known for The Dark Knight with starring Heath Ledger, which held the number 1 spot for the first 4 weeks in 2008. And Cameron, it's Avatar and Titanic.
Yeah. Okay.
So Cameron's done it twice himself. Nolan did it with The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, and now Coogler has done it for both Black Panthers.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys want to go in business with me in Kentucky?
What is happening in Kentucky? Are you
Uh,
opening a fried chicken stand?
yeah, is an 80,000 square foot warehouse on 4 acres, plus all the store inventory, which I don't know what their store inventory is, but
What kind
What
of store?
store?
I don't know. Let's look and see. But it's in Russellville, Kentucky.
Let's buy it
It's
just for the land.
only $500,000.
Damn. For how many acres?
It is. Let me get it straight here. It says 80,000 square foot warehouse sitting on 4 acres.
Wow, you couldn't even buy half an acre for $500,000 around here.
Russellville, Kentucky.
I know it's the middle of nowhere.
Well, I'm just looking. Russellville, Kentucky is only 10 square miles, the whole city.
Oh, I can tell it's a country town.
Let's see, because I'm closest in terms of where I am.
And it looks like he's a liquidator of random things. Be cool to see the inside of his facility to see if it has pictures of the inside.
You know, we could get that warehouse, hire like 4 or 5 people at minimum wage. Minimum wage probably is only $7 there.
Yep.
And just run a warehouse-based business from there.
There you go. We can.
So you're
Also-
just north of Nashville, kind of between Evansville, Illinois, or Evansville, Indiana. I'm sorry, and Nashville, Tennessee. 6 hours and 48 minutes for me.
It looks like currently they use it all as a U-Haul rental place on part of it, so that's already people are used to that.
How many people live in town? 12, 13?
I mean, you really are only probably if I had to guess, in 40 minutes from Nashville. there. So, but you know, that's I don't want to go to Tennessee. I'm just saying. Or
But what
Kentucky.
does it matter if it's Nashville or not, or near Nashville or not, if we don't know what the stuff is?
Yeah, that's fair.
There's pictures of the inside of it, so you can see what he has. It looks like just a bunch of this and that. It's not set up as like a warehouse.
All right. There's some big news that came out a couple of hours ago. Toe Jam and Earl movie in development at Amazon Studios.
I don't know what that is. You're gonna have to...
Wait, Toe Jam and Earl? Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Jen, how do you not know Toe Jam and Earl?
What is it?
It was a hip hop video game from Sega Genesis.
Someone's taken over my life and replaced me with a not me, because I should know that.
Yeah, it was like what, 90s, early 90s?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Produced by Steph Curry's production company. Like the video game series, the movie will follow two space aliens from the planet Funkatron, who are obsessed with Earth's funk and hip hop music, who crash land their spaceship on our planet. Was
Steph Curry alive when that video game came out?
Yeah, but he, like me, was very young.
Oh, wow.
The Amazon official film synopsis reads, Earth, their legends tell them, is the paradise where the music that created their culture originated. Unfortunately for our heroes, not only do they wreck their ship, but they also find out that Earth is, well, not the heaven they expected. But the music, that part was true. So begins their quest to find as much of that music as they can in the hope of saving their planet and maybe ours as well.
Finally.
Yeah. Originally released for Genesis.
I need to pull out my Genesis and look for that game so I can play it again.
Super true, man. Super true.
This is where someone was sitting around seeing how much money Sonic was making. I was like, oh, here's a good deep cut.
Well, the soundtrack for it's going to be a banger.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
That's the whole thing. This is one of those soundtrack movies, right? Where they'll be able to get Chance the Rapper or somebody to do the soundtrack, and it'll go platinum.
Mm-hmm. It has to be 90s hip hop, though. It can't be modern day.
No, disagree. I think it can be whatever's hot and whoever will jump on.
I don't know, man. Modern day hip hop does not stand a ground to 90s hip hop. Not saying it's bad. I just don't. I think 90s hip hop is better.
I'm not saying.
Good thing that most of the Wu-Tang Clan's around then. So
yeah, there we go.
There you go.
And we all know Wu-Tang is for the children,
right?
Yeah, and we also all know that RZA loves to make movies now.
It's true. The RZA does love to make movies. No, I think one of those things is that it's if they decide to make it in modern day, you definitely can have. There's definitely room for modern day hip hop.
There is.
Definitely. But if you decide to set it in the original time frame, then definitely you have to go with a Tribe Called Quest or Wu-Tang or someone like that to do the music.
Yeah, I mean, Digital Underground's no more. Half of them are dead. More than half. NWA's still around, with the exception of one or two. But I don't know if they'll ever come back. Public Enemy, hey, no, man.
De La Soul?
De La Soul, yeah.
Well, I mean, Nile Rodgers could still, Nile Rodgers and Chic could definitely lead the funk side of that thing. So there's a shot. Like, has some real potential.
But I think that it would matter more with the producers than it would with the artists. You can take 90s producers, have them produce the music, and have current artists do the lyrics.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of options, which is what I think makes it such an appealing thing. I'm just still a little flabbergasted that Miss Jen doesn't know Toe Jam and Earl.
No, let's tell you.
Well, was there ever a comic adaptation? I don't think so.
There
No,
might
but
in
I
the
know Miss
90s.
Jen's love for 90s hip hop.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about Yo MTV Raps or something like that, I'm your girl.
I mean,
Yo MTV Raps.
I'm gonna have to look to see who did the music series The Get Down. So
Oh yes.
yeah, that's a good option.
But the Get Down, they also try to do as much of the 1970s music than anything else, with the exception of what's his
they
name.
did, but you can mix funk in there. I mean, what the planet's name is Funkatron, right? So
All right. So Disney bought a streaming chassis for Disney Plus for $900 million. Which, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, it's just the tech to make their streaming better. Like, it's not going to fix their content issues. At the same time, Warner Brothers Discovery seems to be going to drop the HBO off of HBO Max and just call it Max. Which
why?
isn't that marketing already taken by Cinemax?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a bad move. HBO has more name recognition than Max does. Why would they? Well, it's Warner Discovery. I think they're just trying to lose money now.
Well, initially, it had also been reported that the company internally had been referring to the streaming service as Beam.
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 I mean-
It said that it will feature a revamped user interface with all of Warner Brothers Discovery's brands given individual tiles akin to Disney Plus's current layout, meaning HBO, Discovery, DC Comics, and Warner Brothers will have their own landing hubs.
So they're basically separating all of their streaming service again.
The reason for the name change is reportedly to end confusion where HBO is concerned, as executives felt consumers would conflate all available content on the HBO Max streaming service with the HBO brand rather than Warner Brothers Discovery subsidiaries.
No.
They can market their HBO Max in a manner where they make that more abundantly clear, as opposed to trying to lose the name HBO Max, because HBO Max has got name recognition. Everybody knows what they're getting. But again, this is a company that allowed themselves to be bought out by AOL. So what can we?
It's true.
Yeah, diluting the name or having the public lose memory of the name HBO is not a good move. It would make more sense to go even more in with HBO, and consumers can figure out what's on the app by going on the app. But if they feel that they're moving away from HBO, or even just by dropping that name recognition, then the likelihood of people signing up for it or even letting the subscription run out is just going to go. The odds are going to get that much better for that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, go with what you're strongest with. So I don't
Right.
understand that.
McDonald's should totally be called Big Mac Dollar Coke.
Burger.
Right.
Burger. Yeah.
Right. I don't think it's a good thing changing the whole branding of HBO Max. I think they're making a mistake by letting it stay separate from Discovery Plus. Right? Like, it's got to be, you got to have one thing. I'm not going to pay for both Discovery Plus and HBO Max. Not going to do it. Same reason I won't pay for Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus all separate. When you put them together and you give me one login and one password, I will pay a higher price for the package. But I don't want to pay for 6 services when I can pay for one.
That's what cable TV is, my friend.
Right.
There you
And
go.
I mean, and you're talking to someone who still has cable.
Yeah,
I have DirecTV Stream, but it's basically cable.
correct.
So, I mean, that's my thing, right? Like, if I got rid of DirecTV Stream, I'd probably get Sling, right? And then I'd have all my streaming services.
Don't get Sling.
I probably would get just because for the old people that I live with, they need something with a guide channel.
I understand. Don't get Sling. The resolution on that, it ticks me off. 2 minutes into it, I'm like, hey, you guys should have already buffered all of this stuff, and
yeah,
it's out that it can't handle a 75-inch TV or something like that.
Right. I mean, there's a reason that we have DirecTV Stream and not Sling. Like,
I'm the only reason I have Sling is for my mother. She wants the Indian channels, and those are only available through Sling right now.
Right. So, should we talk about the sad news? Go ahead.
Oh yes, no, go ahead. I don't want to preempt sad news. Go for it.
Bob McGrath, aka Bob from Sesame Street, passed away yesterday at the age of 90.
I saw that.
At the age of 90, you just got to say, hey, he lived a full life.
Oh, certainly.
You can't feel bad about that. And you got to feel bad because they're not going to be around. But
right, you feel sad, but
exactly. But not if it was like in his 60s or 70s. And that's like, hey, another 10, 15 years would have been much different.
So I got to meet him once at Great Lakes Comic-Con, and they brought in a bunch of the original Sesame Street gang. And the worst part, like, and I say this, and it's going to sound bad, it was the only time I've ever met a celebrity and been downright disappointed. Or been downright sad afterwards. I met Carol Spinney, and his wife had to remind him how to spell his name. Like, I was disappointed in that. Like, he had to be making Comic-Con appearances to earn money. Right? In that condition. He didn't remember how to spell his name. Couldn't stand up. Right? Like, he didn't know where he was. It was disappointing that he wasn't, in a situation where he didn't have to do that. At the same time, I was sad because you meet somebody that you've, loved and admired for all those years, and they're just a shell of themselves. It's like, this is just bad. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't have any regret getting to meet. I think for the person I met that was like the closest to their end of life was, I forgot his first name, Mr. Brown from who played Uncle Owen, and he was at that point where he needed a lot of assistance.
Right. I felt like, PBS Studios, Children's Television Workshop, all of those guys probably could have taken care of Carol a little bit better so that he didn't have to be doing conventions at that point. But
you think it was that, or he just wanted to do it?
I don't know, but either way, I would have fought pretty hard to say don't do it. So, did anyone see Saturday Night Live?
I saw an amazing sketch from it.
The Keenan and Kel reunion?
I did, yes.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it was.
What did you think,
But
Mike?
I thought it was weird in the best way. But
yeah, I don't know. It was a reunion that I wanted, but it wasn't the way I wanted it.
Why not? I thought it was perfect. But yeah.
Well, I don't want to see Kel get shot.
Hey, spoiler alert!
The creative control. The creative control was taken by Kelly. That's why.
Well, that's
she
fair.
couldn't have that competition.
That's fair. I really thought that years ago, SNL should have just put Kel Mitchell on retainer.
Yeah,
and just started doing Keenan and Kel sketches. Just all of a sudden it's, there's a Good Burger sketch on this week's SNL.
Yeah.
You know, I could have got behind that, but so what else is new? What else? Like, I'm just
The Flash movie has a new date.
is it the 27th of Never?
No, they're basically, I think, June 19th or something like that. They've sandwiched it between the Transformers movie and Indiana Jones.
Okay.
So
Why?
they're hoping it'll disappear in between the two, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Um. Even though that movie's been, we've known it's been coming for the last 2 years or so, it's like, haven't people forgot about it by now? Or are they just holding on to the whole, Michael Keaton aspect of it now?
Or to see where the drama leads.
Because after that Indiana Jones trailer, all I care about is Fleabag. So
And this is what's hysterical. Couldn't be bothered to care about the Indiana Jones trailer.
what do you mean?
Why?
I
Oh,
saw
you couldn't?
Crystal Skull, and I
Oh,
vowed
no.
to never watch another Indiana Jones movie so long as I lived.
Yeah. I hope it retcons that movie somehow.
Yeah, nope. I'm not interested in a Harrison Ford vanity project.
So
No, well, first of all, it's a Phoebe Waller-Bridge project, so let's get
That
that
doesn't make it
in
better
the
in my
clear.
brain.
Oh, okay. I don't understand that, but all right.
I couldn't tell
Fleabag.
you another thing that Phoebe Waller-Bridge did.
Fleabag?
Never seen it.
That's sad.
what's it about?
Oh, just nothingness and everythingness. I highly
Yeah,
recommend it.
not a good sell there, Mark.
It's a dark comedy on Amazon Prime about a ne'er-do-well in their 40s. That's what it's about. Just watch it. It's great.
Nah, I'm good. I'll just
Okay,
watch.
fine.
I'll just watch Letterkenny again.
Oh, but you did ask earlier if we saw any movies. I haven't seen a recent movie, but I just saw Bullet Train, which finally made its way to Netflix.
Yeah,
Is that the second best movie of the year?
it's a really good movie.
It's a
It's
really
certainly up
good
there. I've
movie. I
never.
was like, it
I
was
don't know if
so
it's the
good.
second best movie of the year,
Well, I haven't seen
but
Black
it's
Panther yet.
certainly
Full disclosure.
certainly top 5.
Well, did you guys watch?
But Everything Everywhere All at Once is my number one. So
Oh, see, that's like bottom of the top 10 for me.
wow. Okay.
Well, because I've seen Black Panther.
Yeah.
It's I think my top 5 are probably Black Panther, Black Adam. It might be Bullet Train. After that, and then it's probably the Top Gun. And nope.
I gotta see
Yeah.
the Onion movie before I make a judgment call.
Nope was an interesting.
Wait, The Onion's making a movie?
No, the
Oh, The Glass Onion.
the Glass Onion. Yeah.
I got so excited. I thought The Onion was making a movie. I think they made one like 10 years ago.
That movie was called 2016 to 2020.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that was also that.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I
Bullet
thought
Train
so.
had so many people I liked in it, and I didn't even know like half the cast was in it till I saw them in it. I don't know if that movie was poorly marketed or what.
Oh, I thought it was marketed well. I mean, I saw all the trailers for it because it had the guy from Atlanta in it.
Yeah, Brian Tyree Henry. Yep.
Yeah. So
I haven't
like,
had the
remember,
heart to watch his new Apple Plus movie, but I hear that's pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't either. I did watch. Okay, so I'm going to give a nod to Taylor Sheridan, even though no one watches Yellowstone, even though they want you to believe everyone does.
I have told you I watch it. Goodness. Settle down.
That's the joke, though.
Oh, okay.
Like, everybody knows one person, but that's all they know. But apparently that equals 12.5 million people. Anyway.
Yeah.
Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone has moved over to Showtime now. And is no longer on
Really?
Paramount.
Why?
Well, that was where it was
Why?
always going to be.
Okay.
They just were showing the first few weeks on Paramount Plus to get people addicted. Much like, you know, what Sylvester Stallone is going to do in that show where he gets people addicted to weed, apparently. Anyway, then they started showing George and Tammy, which is the George Jones Tammy Wynette story. And if you're into country,
that started already?
They had the first episode on last night.
Oh man, I can't
It
wait.
too is on Showtime. But the first episode is on Paramount
I love
Plus.
Michael Shannon. Okay. I love Michael Shannon, but I don't know if that's going to translate. We'll see.
He was very good in it, but I will tell you, Jessica Chastain as Tammy Wynette. Real good.
I could tell just from the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell. I mean, you never know what's going on editing wise or whatever, but no, I'm definitely I want to see that real bad.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it is better than the time that Loki played Hank Williams Sr.
I own that movie on DVD.
I mean, that's fine. Hey, it's got a good soundtrack, you know, because
it's one of those things is like, I bought it when Blockbusters was going out of business. And it's like, how big of a risk are you taking for $1? Turns out, pretty big risk.
It's a pretty big risk.
But no, it's, you know, I think we're getting into that point where it's not quite Christmas releases yet. Like, I think like the stuff that's coming out in the coming weeks are gonna be like, you know, big. But we're not getting the things that we normally get this time of year because they're just going straight to streaming. So it's a weird release schedule.
Do you think?
Oh, speaking of being told that everyone is watching a show, who's seen Wednesday so far?
I'm in the middle of it.
Okay, I have not started it yet.
Do you have to log into Netflix to watch it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was it was the first show I binged Wednesday or Thursday morning when I was a little bit in the right mind or whatever. Just breezed right through it. It was a well worth. You guys, seriously, spend the time, watch it.
There's so many good, like, I know that it's an Addams Family thing, but Addams Family Easter eggs in their show is so hilarious.
Right. Yeah, and the one thing about this is it could have been a Sabrina the Teenage Witch story. It could have been Archie Riverdale story. It could have been any of those. So the way it was written was really well done. It didn't have to be an Addams Family or Wednesday story, but the elements they put in it and those really all the subtle hints on Addams Family they did a good job with, including the little one liner in there about our other show, You. That was pretty cool.
I will watch it, but I have to say, for me at least, the getting beat over the head with it on TikTok and other social media platforms have made me want to not watch it.
I think it's well worth watching.
Oh, no, for sure. Like, they're like, hey, have a steak dinner, this thing you're going to absolutely love because it's Tim Burton who you love and it's the Addams Family who you love. and it's a character about your favorite, like one of the first girls you ever had a crush on, Wednesday Addams. So watch this thing. And I'm like, okay, I will. And then TikTok just bashes you about the head with it. And you're like, you know what? Thank you for ruining that thing. I loved the internet.
Stop watching TikTok, though, bro.
Never.
See, I thought you were doing a Carry On Cross reference to TikTok, but
No.
it was the way you emphasized TikTok.
Right. I would like to have said, I wish that was the intention. By the way, things that I'm looking forward to, just so I can throw this out there. There's a great documentary that I've seen bits of called I Am DB Cooper coming out. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is coming straight to Netflix.
Huh?
There's another Night at the Museum movie.
Animated.
Yes.
Is it animated? Okay.
Yes. Which I'm excited for. And then Fathom Events is doing a screening of the original Conan the Barbarian. Like that I'm buying tickets for the second I can once we get done doing this. So, like, those are the only things I see between now and the end of the year that I could possibly be bothered to give a crap about.
And the second trailer for Emily in Paris, because we know you're looking forward to it.
Not nearly as much as you're looking forward to the next trailer for I Want to Dance with Somebody, the Whitney Houston movie.
Yes. Actually, I am excited for that. Just to see how.
Yeah, but we're going to hope that in this movie, in this theatrical trailer, they actually play I Want to Dance with Somebody. Did you guys see this when you went to see Black Panther? They had the trailer for Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody, and the song they used through the whole trailer was I Will Always Love You.
Of course they did.
Serious? Wow.
The television trailer has I Want to Dance with Somebody, but the theatrical trailer never features the song.
Maybe they know that we'll be like, oh, that's so obvious.
Hey,
Maybe.
At least our dance mix this past Saturday had it.
There you go.
It's true.
Hey, Brainy, I think I figured something out.
What's that?
You know how we love Emily in Paris because it's really amazing costume work, or at least I do.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It has great costume. It has great scenery as well. So
I think Wednesday hits that button for me because it's Atwood doing all that costume design, and it's like I want every outfit of every person.
Oh yeah, you're right. They did a great job with costuming in that as well.
So, just one more thing I just noticed on the list that I skipped over the first time. Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical, which is coming straight to Netflix. Many of those songs were written by the comedian Tim Minchin, who is hysterical and very Australian. So that movie could have some very interesting choices.
Perfect.
So we have like 7 minutes left. Should we talk about new comic books that are out this week?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to talk about food again, I'm fine either way.
There's
Brainy
a big
missed
one.
us talking about food. So.
Yeah, I want to talk about food.
No, we did that at the beginning.
Last time we talked about food, Brainy brought us in on the. We got in on the ground floor of Brainy's Sandwich Shop.
That's right.
What?
Say again.
When's the grand opening so we can all show up?
Depends on the banks, man. Those banks, I swear. You know, and we've said this before. Banks will loan you money if you have money, but if you don't have money, they will refuse to lend it to you.
Right.
Kind of defeats the purpose of wanting to borrow money. They're just being difficult. Yeah, they're using any excuse they can in their books.
All right, so big book out this week is called Frank Miller's Pandora. Miss Jen talked to Frank and Emma Kubert on her Talking Shop show.
Yep, and I got to read an advanced copy, and I really love it. It's one of those adventure books. So it's just like, okay, well, you have two things going on, and eventually they're gonna merge it together and make one story. But it's like basically goblins underground have something that they were desperately trying to keep from some entities that are I'm going to let you guys see what the entities look like. They're really cool. And they somehow get it through. I'm just going to call it a portal because it's the best way to describe it. And it ends up in I'm guessing it ends up in the world of the main character, who is a cute little, how old did they say she is? 15?
Something like that.
15-year-old girl who herself, it's clear that her family has got lots of problems. Like they run basically a flop house for transients, and there's a lot of clearly not great people that stay there at their house. And she's given way more responsibility than someone her age needs to be given. And she's a very creative person. Doesn't really listen to anyone's advice, except for, and not even really her grandpa. She has a special relationship with her grandpa and takes care of him. So it's really good. It feels a lot like, I'm gonna say, like Labyrinth.
So other books on my list, All Against All by Alex Packendall. Dahlia in the Dark from Mad Cave.
Yep.
There you go.
Gargoyles, #1.
Is that this week? I thought that was pushed. Oh no, it is this week. You're right.
And from Dark Horse, It's Only Teenage Wasteland, #1.
So
Miss
weird.
Jen, I wanted to get you the person from It's Only Teenage Wasteland.
Yeah.
And we had talked to them, but when the Frank Miller situation presented itself, I'm like, you know what? We'll just have him on for issue 2.
Perfect. So this is the cool thing that people should be aware of this week. If you are a person that loves the Spawn very much, it looks like almost every Image book has a Spawn cover variant. So
yep,
good to hunt down.
We have a absolute Spawn fan who wants everything Spawn, so we made sure we got one copy of each at least for him.
There's some cool looking ones.
Speaking of Image Comics, Hexware #1 comes out this week as well.
Oh yeah.
Looks very interesting.
For everybody that has been waiting patiently for Little Monsters, the next one to come out, #8 is dropping for you guys. They've been so patient.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of #2s and stuff on my list, but I'm going to forgo talking about those in favor of just being like Frank Miller's Pandora. Miller's Pandora. Frank Miller's Pandora.
Know Your Station from Boom is a good read.
Ooh.
#1 comes out this week.
That's cool. In one of my coworker Liam's favorite books, because they stole them from me, Seven Sons wraps up this week. It's the Jake.
Is that a? No, that can't be.
Oh yeah, volume 2. Volume 2 of Monstrous hardcover comes out this week. And for those that haven't read Monstrous yet, I'd highly recommend it. It's beautiful art and beautiful story.
I was happy to have a customer come in today and stops to their pull list. And #2 comes out this week. That's the Kevin Smith's comic company that's doing as a sub of Dark Horse.
The View Askew-niverse.
The View Askew-niverse. I think it actually has. Didn't they put it like some other name?
Not that I can remember.
Oh, and Earth Divers 3. Heck yeah.
I'm over that book.
What? You didn't like it?
I liked issue 1 a lot. issue 2 did not do what I needed it to do to keep me interested. So now it becomes a I will read the trade situation.
Okay. Well, that's still fair.
Quested number 1 by Whatnot Comics comes out.
We don't know how we feel about Whatnot Comics yet.
No, and this is something I keep telling people. If you're basing your recommendations and whatnot just just on the publisher, you're missing out. You should be looking at the story itself. Don't worry about who the publisher is, because there are times when you might just miss one of the greatest stories just because it was published by somebody you just don't have a favorable view on.
Oh, it's not that. It's my thing. And my question has always been, okay, are these something that are going to be in local comic shops?
That's
or not. And if they are, then I'm good with it. If they're not, I'm still good with it, but you got to sell me harder.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, Whatnot books are available through comic shops. Not every single cover will be. But from what I understand, which I'm not very happy about, they are releasing them a week or two earlier on their platform than they are at the stores, which is a little disappointing. But yeah, not everybody shops on the platform anymore.
I'm excited for, and I'm hoping we bought enough, because I'm hearing that it ties into quite a lot of things that are important going forward. The Dark Web #1 Marvel. Ben Reilly and Madeline Pryor.
We didn't go that heavy on it, and that's primarily because we didn't see very many subs for it.
Yeah, you have to go with that a little bit.
I take that back, because I was just looking at all the variants we didn't get very much of. It looks like we recommended this to our Amazing Spider-Man followers, so let's see how it does.
Then Miles Morales #1. Let's see what happens. Let's do this.
I'm on the bandwagon where I'm sick and tired of seeing all these #1s over and over again.
I just like the cool covers, especially
Oh,
Zulo cat variant.
even the main cover on the Miles Morales is beautiful.
It's so pretty, all of them.
Right. Oh, and the one with him kissing, what's her name?
Yeah.
Where he's sitting on top of that. Yes, it has beautiful covers.
All right. Justin's going to have to edit this down for time.
Yeah, he can cut out all my parts.
Well, you can cut out the times where we just sat there and stared at each other.
Wait, but that's the most beautiful part.
Right.
Yeah.
And Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur starts. Yay!
Again, #1.
Yeah.
The young cover on that one's really nice.
Although, if you play Marvel Snapped and you have a deck where you can get Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur out on the same,
Unstoppable.
is pretty OP.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kyle, I'm going to do the thing if that's okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you for watching Nerd News Now, part of the Kingdom of Geekdom on Woodlands Online, sponsored by The Adventure Begins Comics and Games and Space Cadets Collection. Check out other shows on Woodlands Online like Music Cafe, The Adventure Begins Show, Woodlands House and Home, The Best You, Between the Trees, Business Talk, and much more. You can watch all these on Woodlands Online and on our partner station, KVQT HD21, over the air on your television. All these shows and more on Roku right now. Search and add Woodlands Online Television to your streaming lineup, and listen to our podcast versions on Spotify, iTunes, iHeart Radio, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Pandora, or wherever you listen to your podcast. We'll see you next time on Nerd News Now.